That's not good. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here and welcome to Bookmas Day 1. Now you might be thinking, Bookmas. Katie, what the heck is that? If you've ever heard of Vlogmas, it's basically BookTube's version of that. Vlogmas is where you upload daily vlogs from the 1st of December to the 25th of December. And that's just the standard way to do it. There's many different ways to do it, as with Bookmas. Normally, Bookmas is 12 days. Some people post the first 12 days of December. Some people post the last 12 days leading up to Christmas. Like I said, I'm going to be doing 12 days of Bookmas, and I'll be uploading 12 videos up until Christmas, but mine are all going to be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, with an exception of one coming out tomorrow. These are all mainly going to be book related videos, and I think I have 2 or 3 more holiday and fun like daily vlog style videos going out too. And I just decided to do it this way instead of doing the first 12 days or the last 12 days because I feel like it just stretches out the work a little bit for me, and it also doesn't just like dump a ton of videos on you guys all at once, and you'll have more time to watch the videos, and I feel like it'll be more exciting watching them up until Christmas. So that's how I'm gonna be doing it, and I am so excited, and I hope you guys are too. Now let's get into what you're like actually here for, which is my November wrap-up and my December TBR. Starting off with the first book that I read, I have been trying to read the entirety of the Hunger Games series before I go see the new movie that just came out, and this month I successfully finished Catching Fire and Mockingjay, and I'm actually reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes right now, and after I finish I'm gonna go see the movie with my book club, and we are so excited because we've all 3 read it. But we're obviously not talking about that right now because I haven't finished it, so let's talk about these 2. Now with these books, I will say that I grew up loving the movies, but I never read the books because I just wasn't a big reader growing up, and I think that if I read them when the hype was initial or before I watched the movies, that these 2 books would have been 5-star. But I think it's just because I know what happens that I couldn't justify giving them a 5-star for some reason, or like maybe it just didn't hit as much just because I have seen the movies many times. But they were obviously still very good, and I still love them. They're very nostalgic for me. I rated them both a 4.5. I think I rated the first Hunger Games book a 4, and I just love this series. I really wish that I would have read them whenever I was a kid before I went to go see the movies, and I just couldn't imagine what being a reader was like back in the day, like with the Divergent, Maze Runner, all those like dystopian huge books out, and I really wish that I would have been a reader, but it's fine. I will say though, Catching Fire has always been my favorite movie. It's always been the best in my personal opinion. Now, I don't know if it's because we get introduced to Finnick Odair or what. I also think that whenever I was a kid, the Mockingjay movies being split up into 2 different movies was kind of like, there just wasn't like a lot of content in each movie, I feel like. But reading the Mockingjay book, I was very surprised at how much I enjoyed the Mockingjay book compared to the movie. And the movies are very similar to the books in all honesty, but I think it's just having that extra information and just, I mean, the genuine difference between a movie adaptation to a book adaptation. You just get more of Katniss's thoughts and feelings on everything that's going on in her life. And I don't know, that book was just like, it was perfect, and I love them, and they probably would have been 5 stars if I had read them before I saw the movies. Okay, the first physical book that I read this month was a very exciting one for me, and one that you can already see, so you already know what it is, so I'm just gonna say what it is. It is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, which means that I have finally finished the ACOTAR series, or at least the books that are like out right now. I mean, she did say that there were more books coming out, so I will definitely be continuing to read the series when more come out. And I actually have reading vlogs of me reading the first 3 books if you're interested in my thoughts on those, and I may or may not have one coming out for the last 2 books in the series during Bookmas, so maybe you'll see that coming soon. I don't know. That vlog is going to be full spoilers, so for those of you who haven't read this book yet and can't watch that video, I'll just give like my basic thoughts on it. I was a little bit nervous about this one going in because obviously the first 3 are all in Feyre's perspective. The novella, you get a lot of different characters' perspectives in first and in third person, and this is the first book that is solely in third person, which I really didn't have a problem with. And it also follows Cassian and Nesta, which we haven't gotten yet, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel not having Feyre. Like, I've just grown so close to her. But in all honesty, I actually didn't mind it. It was very interesting to see Nesta's story, and I found myself relating to her a lot. And Cassian is just a sweet little big softy bear, and I love him. I literally love him so much. I think he's my favorite Bat Boy. Was this my favorite book in the ACOTAR series? No. Did I rate this a 5-star? No. And a lot of people say that this one is their favorite, that they don't really like the original trilogy as much as this one, and they want more of Cassian and Nesta. But for me, I just really didn't feel that. I still enjoyed the characters a lot, still got where they were coming from and stuff like that. And they felt very real. That's the biggest thing that I love so much about the ACOTAR series, is that Sarah J Maas just makes her characters have such like real qualities. I think the biggest thing that kind of put me off is there was a lot of repetition. I was talking to one of my friends about it the other day who like loves this book, and she was saying that she saw the repetition as kind of like going through a depression but in a book, and I can definitely see that, and I think that's like a very interesting way to look at it. And whenever she said that, I was like, hold up, like you might be onto something. But I also just think it was like pretty slow for me, and I just didn't get the feelings that I did with the other three. So I did end up rating this one a 4-star, and if you want to hear more of my thoughts about this book, go ahead and check out that reading vlog coming very soon. And then I went into another huge fantasy book, and that book is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I also have a spoiler-free reading vlog of this book, and it is already out, so go check that out if you want to, if you've read the book. Fourth Wing was a 5-star read for me. I absolutely loved it. It had everything I needed out of a good fantasy book, and it was just so straightforward, not a lot of world building, wasn't too hard to understand, and I loved it. This one still had those qualities, and like I love the dragons and all of those types of things, but it dragged out so long. I even read somewhere that obviously this has less words than Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. That book has like 900 something pages, but this book has more words than that book. How? Like 50,000 more. Like, which is absolutely insane. I feel like this book took me a long time to finish too, and it was kind of bothering me that it took me so long. I feel like it could have been a lot shorter, and I don't know, obviously I still love Xaden, I still love Violet. I just think that they are very cool, very complex and real characters, but I feel like so much happened in the first half of this book, and then the second half of the book, it was all just like fluff leading up to what happened at the end. I don't know, it was just really weird. I almost felt like this was 2 books in one too, because it is broken up into 2 parts. But there was like this huge climax and stuff like that happening in the middle, and then there was like the falling action and stuff like that. And honestly, like she could have split this into 2 books, because it seemed like the second part was just so, maybe not rushed, but she was just kind of like writing stuff that didn't need to be there just because she needed to like make up a page number or like word count. I don't really know. I am very sad that this one did not hit as hard as Fourth Wing did. I still think it was a good book. I still think it had its moments, and the ending was crazy, probably crazier than the first book. I hope this is going to be my least favorite in the series. I think as of right now I'm rating this a 4-star just because I love the characters so much, and the fact that it wasn't a bad book, it still had the great qualities of the first one. It just, I mean, kind of like a Quarter Silver Flames, like it almost felt like the writing and the pacing and stuff like that is what threw these books off a little bit for me. Now, could I have been just maybe not in the mood for a fantasy because I read 2 big ones back to back? That could also be it, but I also just don't think these are as good as the other books by these authors. I have slowly but surely been trying to get through Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlist. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Wow. And I've read 3 books by her so far. 7 Husbands, which wasn't my favorite, and then Daisy Jones and the Six and One True Loves, which I literally love. So I ended up reading Maybe in Another Life, and I definitely enjoyed it. Her books are a lot more fiction-y, I feel like, than people realize. They're not just romance books. I did not get the plot of those books at all, did I? Okay, I just realized that I didn't get the plot of the first 4 books that I talked about in this video, which is literally what wrap-ups are for. But I'm gonna justify it, actually, because they're all 4 very popular books, especially the Hunger Games and the ACOTAR book and the Fourth Wing book. I can't really say, technically, right? Because they're sequels. Basically, they're both fantasy books. ACOTAR has fae in it, and Iron Flame has dragons. Period. Anyways, back to Maybe in Another Life. This book follows a character that I don't remember the name of, and basically she hits a crossroads where she has to make a decision. So one chapter follows her with this decision, and the other chapter follows her with this decision. And it's kind of crazy how different her life becomes with both decisions that she makes. But it's also kind of crazy how almost similar they become too, because it's like a full circle. Like at the end of the day, she gets what's meant for her. So there's a lot of talk about fate, and there's a lot of talk about why things happen the way they do and how our choices choices make up our lives. And it's just very interesting, the main character's thought process on a lot of things. And she was a great main character, even though I literally can't remember her name, but I remember her having a great personality and a lot of perseverance and determination to get to where she wanted to go. And at the end of the day, this book has just such a good message. I love that. I love having a good theme in books. It reminds me in like grade school, whenever you'd read like a short story, your teacher would be like, what was the theme of this? And you'd be like, huh? But now I love it as an adult, and I actually ended up rating this a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cute, and again, the theming was very nice at the end. Okay, and then I also read another one of Ali Hazelwood's STEMness novellas. I ended up reading the one Below Zero. I actually only have one more left, and hopefully I can finish that in December. I ended up rating this a 3-star. It's basically about this girl who's obsessed with Mars, and she's a scientist, and she ends up meeting this guy who works in the field that she wants to work in, and they end up getting along, and whatever, blah 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 blah, romance stuff. Let me just say, I actually like this, like, a lot, which is kind of odd for me because novellas aren't really my favorite. Smart people having fun, getting romance, and a cute little hero trope moment. I kind of like ate it up a little bit. It was cute. And then this month I also ended up reading She's Gone by David Bell. This is a YA mystery, kind of a thriller, but I would say it's more mystery based. This book is basically about a boy named Hunter, and he wakes up, he's in the hospital, and he's like, what the heck is going on? The last thing I remember, I was at the homecoming dance with my girlfriend, and then now I'm here. The biggest plot of this book is his girlfriend Chloe is missing, and the last person she was seen with was him. So he's a suspect in her like murder slash disappearance case. So the entire time he's trying to figure out who did it. He's trying to help in any way he can, and there's a lot of different things that end up happening. And at the beginning I was really enjoying it, and then at the end the ending was very rushed for me, and honestly it kind of deterred me from the rest of the book. If you like a good YA mystery, I would recommend this just as something else to read, because the writing was super easy to understand, as with most YA books, but the ending just didn't really do it for me. It was rushed. It was just not what I expected, and not, I don't know, it just really put me off, to be honest. I don't really know what my rating is for this yet, and I actually read this in a reading vlog coming up, I think next week. So if you want to see my rating of it, it'll be in there, because I'm still finishing up that reading vlog and I'll have time to think on my rating. But yeah, I don't know, it made me more excited to read mysteries, because I've slowly been realizing mysteries are kind of like up there for me, and I want to read a lot more of them, which is not my favorite mystery. You know? Okay, those are all the books that I read in November. Now let's go ahead and get into my very short December TBR, and you'll see why here in a second. As I just showed you guys, I just finished the last book in the ACOTAR series, which means it is time to move on to the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I have 2 books in the series right here, the prequel, The Assassin's Blade, and of course the first book, Throne of Glass. I was waiting to finish ACOTAR to start this, and I am so excited. I've heard so many good things about this series, people saying that this is their favorite from Sarah J Maas, so it makes me even more excited to get into reading it. I actually asked for the rest of the books for Christmas, and my Christmas is going to be on December 9th with my family. I'm really crossing my fingers that I get the rest of the series for Christmas, and I'm just going to really work on getting through all 8 of this series this month. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to get through all 8 this month, especially because Kingdom of Ash is, like I said earlier, 900-ish pages, and because I might have to read like some romances or mysteries or something in between just to kind of give myself a palate cleanser. But I'm really hoping to cruise through, and the way I'm going to read it, because I know everybody reads the series a little bit differently because there's a prequel, I'm going to be reading The Assassin's Blade first. It just makes the most sense in my mind because it's set first, so I want to know a little bit more about the characters before I fully dive in. I'll be completely honest, don't know a thing about these books. I just know it's about a girl named Selena. That's really it. And I hope that I love it. I'm so excited. Going along with that, there's another release that I'm very excited for this month, and it is the second and last book in the Letters of Enchantment, aka Divine Rivals duology, and that is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. I really enjoyed Divine Rivals. It was actually my first book with my book club. I absolutely adored it. It was so good. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to it because I think we're probably going to read it as a book club book because we read the first one together, so it just kind of like makes sense, and we all loved the first one. I think I rated that a 4.5. I'm really expecting this one to be just so good because the first one leaves off on such a crazy cliffhanger, and guys, Roman and Iris are So cute, and I love how romance heavy these fantasy books are. They're so good, and I'm so excited to figure out more of the fantasy elements. This series is basically about Iris and Roman, like I said, and they're both interning at this newspaper hoping to become like journalists for the newspaper, and they're competing against each other, so whoever wins gets like a good job there. They both have very different backgrounds, very different home lives, one on a very high end of the spectrum and one on a very low end of the spectrum, and there's also a war with the gods going on right now, and it's just this whole thing, and I'm so excited for it. I don't know if I'll get to it this month because I'm gonna put all of my energy into reading Throne of Glass this month, at least all my fantasy energy, if you know what I'm saying, but I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see. I also want to read a few Christmassy romances during the month because, you know, I am a sucker for a Christmas romance, especially a Hallmark movie, and I think it'd just be fun and cute and lighthearted while I'm reading Throne of Glass. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know, especially recommendations for Kindle Unlimited, because I just feel like it would be fun and festive to read a few, and I've never really read a Christmas romance before, so I'm excited. Those are all the books that are like officially on my December TBR that I want to get to. Like I said, very short, technically long if you think about the whole Throne of Glass series, but you get what I mean. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And also comment down below if you guys have any thoughts on these books that I talked about in this video or any books that you want me to read. I hope you guys are as excited for Bookmas as I am. I know that in November I didn't really post a lot, especially not a lot of book related content because we were moving into our new apartment, but we're finally all moved in and settled. So the moving vlogs are all done. Well, that's not entirely true, but you're not gonna be seeing a moving vlog for like a hot minute. I'm still gonna do a few like moving and apartment related content things, but those will be in the new year and like way down the line. I hope you guys are so excited for all the book content coming this month, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye guys. I'm actually reading the Ballad of Songbirds. Yeah. I said what I said. Boom. I'm so itchy right now. Bookmas!